Hi guys and welcome to another video on this channel. Today it's my team career mode, season 2, round 8, around Le Castellet for the French GP. The French GP isn't on the calendar for this year in real life, but I really like this track and I decided to put it on the calendar for season 2 of the My Team career mode. And before we go to the race weekend, we signed a new sponsor with a good payout and a, I think, really easy goal. I mean, 50 laps in a race weekend for the whole team. So if both of us finish the race, that's enough laps just with the GP. We have training and qualifying as well. And we already have another sponsor where we have to get 75 laps in a race weekend, and I think we got it in pretty much every weekend, even in Austria where we DNF'd after 7 laps. So yeah, 50 laps in a race weekend isn't that hard, and with the payout we get, it's just worth it. So now we actually don't have much free time between Silverstone and Le Castellet, but I still wanted to at least start some upgrades, so they would probably come in for in the summer break. And I decided to do some aero upgrades, a major front downforce upgrade, which indeed will come in the summer break. So for Monza we will have it on the car, but then for the rear downforce upgrade we miss out by 3 R&D points, which is really unfortunate. But now let's go to the race weekend and see what we can do. We definitely need to make up some points. And as you can see there, the qualifying will be wet. So that's a challenge. And we're back down to P10 in the performance chart, but we're pretty much in one pixel with Alpine and Alfa Romeo. So we're still around the same level we were at the last race weekend, and AlphaTauri is just far behind everyone else. So yeah, we had 2 points finishes this season, 1 win around China. But if you didn't see that one, it was really bugged. The AI went 15 seconds off pace. So yeah, 1 pretty much undeserved win and a pretty deserved P5 in Spain. But that's all we have for now. And we definitely need to get some more points. Because otherwise we will lose P6 to McLaren. And that's definitely not what we want. So after skipping through practice as usual, we go right into qualifying. And our first lap we had a spin in turn 2, and we had many more moments of oversteer, so I definitely needed to go for another lap. And there you can see after turn 2 we are up by 8 seconds already, so it takes some time to get used to the track always. So yeah, I mean, in the wet I think it was one spin and 2 or 3 moments of big oversteer in the first quali lap, so yeah, that's pretty much okay for our first lap in the wet of the whole weekend. On the track I haven't driven for I think 1.5 years, as I didn't really play the F122 game that much. And then we went wide through turn 10, which is even in the wet flat out, and then through turns 11 and 12 we get a good rotation, and then through turn 13 I lose the car, and the wall is just so close. There's no chance to avoid the wall when you spin there, and we actually took out an AlphaTauri because we just got pushed back onto the track. We just bounced off the wall onto the track, and I think it was Tsunoda who we took out, and we were actually 10 seconds up, so we probably would have gotten through to Q2 with this lap. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but we will try to make up some time in the race and make up some positions, and hopefully we can get some points as well.
6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Norris, Stroll, Ocon, Bottas, Magnussen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Perez, Albon, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, De Vries, Joe, Teo Pourchaire, Fittipaldi, and the owner-driver rounds off the grid, Tsunoda and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Natalie Pinkham. Thanks for joining us, Natalie. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, well, they'll be the ones that are better off.
So strategy wise, it's the usual mediums to hards or mediums and softs. So it's just the same as always, and I decided to go for medium to hards. And actually Sargent got a grid penalty, so we start in P20 instead of P21. But yeah, it's not a big difference. We get the parking good. And now I'm hoping to have a really good start to make up some positions right from the get-go. And we have a pretty slow reaction time compared to the cars ahead, but then our acceleration was really good, and we go round the outside, almost off track into turn 1, and we're up to P17 or 18 as Gasly is still side by side with us. But then into turn 3 we are ahead, and we go around the outside of Fittipaldi and then down the inside of Joe, and we're in P15, which is really good progress. And if we can keep it up at this rate, we would be in the points by next lap. But Joe is already coming back at us at the long straight. We go round. We have to leave him room into the chicane, but we can fight him off, and we can stay in P15. But we've already fallen out of DRS of the cars ahead. And then in lap 2 we have a big moment of oversteer. We can keep the car on track, but we lose so much time to the cars in front again. And I'm actually surprised that Fittipaldi didn't go for a move, because we were just so slow off that corner. But he didn't even try to make a move on us. And then at the end of lap 2, Magnussen ahead of us goes really wide, loses 2 positions, and unfortunately we couldn't make a move on him. He just slowed it back in right ahead of us. But then onto the straight, going to turn 1, we go down the inside and we go ahead with a little bit of contact, but it was a fair overtake. And then onto the next lap, actually the same lap but the end of the lap, we get a bad exit out of turn 12. Fittipaldi goes ahead of us, but we can get the inside for the last corner, and we get the DRS because we were behind at the detection point. So that was really good help. And then into lap 4 we go a little bit wide, and this time Fittipaldi is completely ahead of us, and we go wide into turn 14, and actually Gasly overtook us. Apparently I tried to leave him room, but I cut the corner while doing it, so I had to let Gasly through. And then into turn 1 I tried to brake a little bit later than him, but went wide at the exit of turn 1, so we lost the position to Gasly. And then onto lap 7, Joe is right behind us, gets the DRS. We don't get DRS because we lost 3 seconds to Fittipaldi and Gasly ahead. But we move to the inside for the chicane and keep it round the outside at the second part of the chicane and stay ahead of Joe. And then through turn 10, flat out, Joe is still behind us. And then we go 2 laps later, and again Joe is quicker than us on the straight with the DRS. We move to the inside, brake way later than him, push him a little bit to the edge of the track, keep it around the outside, but this time actually he stays side by side with us for a bit, but in the end we stay ahead. And then onto the next lap, same thing, but this time our teammate is right behind us, but we make the same move. But this time actually he goes into the chicane in front of us. We get caught up on the curb a little bit, and Pulcher actually made the move stick. And then actually Joe tried to go down our inside, through the flat out turn 10, but we keep it ahead. And now we have to try to make a move on Pucher to get P15 back. So on to lap 11 with the DRS. We are quite far behind actually, but we close the gap massively and then go for a dive into the chicane. I actually went really deep into the corner. I think I cut off Pucher a little bit, but that's just the way this sport is. I think it was still a fair move, even though we cut him off a little bit, not too much I guess. And then I went wide through turn 13 on lap 12, and I went wide through turn 14 again, and I went to the pits to undercut the cars around me and maybe get ahead of them a little bit. And the pit lane here is with 60 kph, one of the slower ones on the calendar, and you lose so much time in the pits. So a 2-stop around here would have been really not that good. So we come out in last. Joe undercut us, so we have to close that 3-second gap back down and overtake him again. And then on lap 14 to 15, some cars ahead pitted, so now we're in P19. And on the next lap, we actually caught Joe, and we're really close to him, as now De Vries and Sargent are in the pits, and my teammate as well. So now we're back into P16. We only lost the place to Joe, who is right ahead of us, who actually went into the pits earlier than us. And then I decided to at first stay behind Joe, but then as my teammate closed up on the soft tire, I wanted to overtake Joe, because Joe is on the mediums, Pucher is on the softs, I'm on the hards, and I hope Joe can defend better against Pucher than me, because I am on 2 compounds harder tires than Pucher. Joe only 1 compound harder, but it just took a few corners for Pucher to go side by side with Joe and then overtake him. So now I have to defend from my teammate, who is on 2 compound softer tires, and that won't be easy. And then I went wide into turn 14 because I wanted to give him some space. And then into turn 15 we stayed ahead, but he got the DRS. But he got a really bad exit, so we're actually gaining even though he has the DRS. And then on to lap 20 on the back straight with the DRS, Pucher just flies past us. And I thought about making a move, and I put it side by side with him again, but his tires are just much quicker than ours, so I don't really have any chance defending from him. And then onto the next lap, Tsunoda will try to overtake us as well, and this time we actually can make our move stick again. Tsunoda turned in a little bit harder than I thought, and actually on the second part of the chicane I couldn't make the corner, went straight on, didn't get a warning for that, but Tsunoda went ahead again, but into the flat out turn 10 I could overtake him again and went ahead. And then on lap 24, this time I actually went to the inside instantly, so I would have the inside directly and not have to make a move to the other side of the track. And I stayed ahead again. It's pretty much the same move in pretty much every lap, and I almost every time I can keep my position. And now through the last sector I go a little bit wide through turn 12, and Sonoda overtakes me. But this is the only way he could have gone past me, by me making a mistake.
Okay, no issues with the tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of it.
Otherwise, I probably would have stayed ahead of him the whole race. And now we have 3 laps to go. And I overtake him into turn 1, go a little bit wide, get switchbacked, and then on the curb I lose the car. And I instantly managed to spin it around without really standing for a long time. But we lost 3 positions, I think even 4 positions maybe. So we need to get back as many positions as possible. And we only have 2 laps left. So probably the only chance we have is get those 2 positions ahead of us. Magnus and De Vries. De Vries is actually on the soft tire, so that's not gonna be easy. But I think at this stage of the race we should have similar pace. And then into the left-hander we touch Magnussen. And then 1 corner later he's out of the race. But as you can see there, the contact wasn't even that bad. I don't know why he retired the car. I mean, yeah, we touched, but I don't think that was a race-ending contact. So yeah, a little bit weird that Magnussen was that Magnussen retired there. But now we go into the last lap, and we still have De Vries ahead of us. And actually our fuel is in the negative by 0.01. And I almost hit the back of De Vries in the first corner. I didn't even try to overtake him, but I just missed my braking point. And now Russell won the race, but that's not important for us right now. We have to overtake De Vries by and while doing that we have to stay at a positive fuel level, because otherwise we would run out of fuel before the line and De Vries could just overtake us back. So now through the chicane we go, and pretty much our last chance will be into turn 10, I guess, or turn 15, but I decided to go for it in turn 10. De Vries got scared a little bit and corrected a little bit to the outside, but then into turn 11 he went down our inside again. But we could keep it ahead, and then there you can see it wasn't as bad as it seemed from my perspective. And then with a little bit of contact, De Vries tried to go down our inside, but we managed to stay ahead. And now into the second last corner we go, and De Vries actually tries to go down our inside again, and then but it turns to the inside for us, and we can squeeze him out, and in the end get home in P18 ahead of De Vries. Just like the last race, we have some pretty good fights with De Vries at the moment. I think from the first round in season 1 on, we always had battles with De Vries. Not always clean, but the last few battles were really clean. So we finish in P18 and Russell wins the race.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take the top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So we finish out of the points again, and unfortunately Lando Norris finishes in P7, so McLaren gets 6 points and we get 0. And our teammate, I think for the first race, no, actually the second race, I think he finished ahead of us, but still with 0 points. But then in the Constructors' Championship we lose P6 to McLaren, so we need to make up some points in the next races, because otherwise this P6 will be gone for the rest of the season. And I hope we can maybe finish in the top 5 in the Constructors' Championship. So let's hope we can get some points in the next few rounds, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.